A very warm welcome to all to this class. I know it's a bit difficult for each and every one of you to arrive this early on a weekend morning. But yeah, as invited here, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening to me. And honestly, like the efforts that you guys are putting on, I hope this helps you to do great things in your lives, inshallah. Okay. So in this course, English for Media, we were basically learning different styles of media, the different styles of things that gets appeared into a media, different styles of writer, different styles of taking photographs and other stuff. But there is one thing from this sector, there is one thing from this genre that is mostly related with different parts or different segments of your life. For example, all of you needs to complete a thesis or a research. You need to compile a research paper, right, to get graduate. So, in that case, this particular thing, interviewing, that will be really helpful for you, because without proper interviewing, you guys cannot have, honestly, a good write-up, a good thesis that can take you to somewhere, take you to academia, take you to a place where you want to belong. Like as I was talking to you guys earlier. And it is on the academic sector, as we were mostly focusing on media, like the major amount of media that we consume, apart from the social media stuff, everything somehow revolves around this interview. Everything somehow revolves around this process of taking interview. That is why this class is about the art of interviewing. And this is a very favorite chapter of mine, and I love to teach this class. So yeah, let's begin with the word interview basically. So this is not a very this is not something you will get to find in interview. This is how I see interview, and if someone asks me like, can you give me a definition of interview, this is how I'm going to break the word down. Okay. So let's write it like INTER and give it a small space, then VIEW. Okay. So do we know the difference between inter and intra?
Not exactly. Inter might be internal.
Yeah, that's it. Just for the time being, just understand this. Okay. Intra is an internal thing, something that is happening within this classroom, let's say for example. And inter means you are going out of this classroom, you might be going out of our department, you are talking to different department people sitting in a different classroom, or it could be people sitting in a different country, nation, continent, and in a different space kind of thing as well. Okay. That is how the difference between inter and intra occurs. Okay. So why we are using this word inter here. Okay. So inter means you are going to engage with a large community of people. Okay. Just understand like that, with a large, because whenever we are saying intra, it means this is inside the classroom. Here we have a very limited number of people. Inside the department is also a very limited number. But when we are saying inter, it can include the entire university. So your participants, the people you are going to talk about, gets bigger. That is why this is just the difference between intra and inter. Okay. So that is how you take the word inter. You are going to talk about, or you are going to engage a large amount of participants or people. And then let's talk about view. View means opinion, your subjective opinion. That sums up. The word interview goes for, you are going to address a large amount of people, you are going to talk to a large number of people and receive what? Their subjective opinions. That's it. But the catch is, whenever we talk about opinion, it often gets a bit shady, like it feels like, okay, there's no opinion, why would I need to be bothered that much? So with this term interview, that opinions gets a bit formal, a bit structured, like whenever you are going to talk about like this, okay, I'm going to take Safeguard's opinion. This is less formal, less impactful, less academic. But whenever you are going to talk about like this, okay, I'm going to take an interview of Safeguard, or let's say I'm going to talk about an interview of Najmul sir. This will be much more impactful. This will be formal. This is a process-based thing. And remember one thing, media is for the people. Media is for third person. There is nothing called first and second person in media. It is always needs to be for the third person. We do understand what a third person means. In Bangla, if I say media mane onner jonno kora. Okay, we are doing things for the other people. It is always the other. So whenever you are going to present people's view to the other, if you say interview rather than opinion, people will take it much more seriously. That is why when we are going to include people's opinion in a professional way, or gather people's opinion in a professional way, that is what is all about interviewing is. That is the sole difference between you and your gossiping sessions with your friend, between you taking interview to a friend. That's that. Same human being, same conversation, same topic, but whenever you are saying interview, it gets formal, structured, serious, and the tone gets a bit thicker. Whenever you are saying opinion, just a normal gossiping session, it gets lighter. Okay, so this is how I see interview. So there are different types of it. First, let me make you guys understand why we are teaching this. We are teaching this because in this course we have tried to figure out how English is creating an impact in the world of media, right? So if you want to do something for the media, like let's say if you like the Safeguards, they have done it, like a news, they have come up with a news like of a video and stuff. That included interview. Okay. If you want to see yourself as a journalist, the first and foremost duty that you need to serve to that channel, to that organization, or to your own, that is you need to have good skills of interviewing. And why I am teaching you this at this hour, because I think this is the right time to teach you guys what is interview is, because the social media, the media world is filled with so much blabberish type of interviews that we see every day on our news stream. And the amount is that big, we are actually thinking like probably this is how interview works, but actually that is not the ideal standard of it. So we will talk about those things, the differences between how a good interview is getting taken, or what's the difference between a good and a bad one. Okay, so let's start with some of the classifications of interview. Interviews is not like, it will be a thing like, okay, we just hold a recorder, you will go in front of someone and start asking random questions. No, everything doesn't happen like that. There are different segments of it. It starts with the structured one. From the name you guys can guess it, like everything will be strictly ordered here. All the questions, all the topics. You cannot get out of these questions. You cannot ask anything except these topics. We will go there, okay. Then the semi-structured. It is probably the most ideal one in order to take interviews, where there is a 50-50 freedom balance ensured between the participants and the interviewer. Okay, I forgot to mention, when you are going to interview someone, the other next person sitting in front of you or standing beside you is the participant of the interview. We always say it like the participant, and the one you are the interviewer. Okay. So in the semi-structure, there is a 50-50 liberty stands between the participants and the interviewer. Okay. Like the interviewer might ask something that is not on the questions list. The participant might answer in a way that he or she has not told the interviewer earlier. This basically makes the interview spontaneous, natural, and it looks vivid, it looks realistic as well. The people who are seeing it, it is a bit more realistic for them to understand. Okay. And then the unstructured one. This is something completely out of the box. Like, you don't need to do anything. You don't need to structure anything, no questions, no topic. these are the type of interviews that we often do with our friends or the persons we are most comfortable with. For example, if you, madam, is taking an interview of you guys know, probably you guys know each other for long, 10 or 15 years, you guys are very much comfortable, you can ask anything to him, he can answer in any possible means to your questions. So these are the unstructured one, where questions are not that much important, the conversation or the gossiping session puts the highest impact. Okay? And then the group or focus group, this is called FGD. These two, semi-structured and focus group, these two interview styles are highly impactful for the people who are into research, people who wants to do research in their life, because here in a research it is not always possible to handpick single one people and go on an interview with them. This takes a lot of time, effort and everything. So you don't have a lot of time. But and in cases the situations might be like this, okay, you are going to talk about the school's issue, a school's problem. Just say like you have been to a primary school and you want to showcase what are the problems that school has. In these cases, in these scenarios, when you are going to talk about challenges, when you are going to showcase what are the problems staged there, problems in a society, okay, it is always better to select more participants than one. Because for say, like if 5 people is talking about a problem, that creates much more impact than a singular human being talking about a problem. It is just like we see on different news channels when people often runs towards civilians to talk about some issues of the country that is currently happening. Just understand that they always try to interview a mass gathering. They always try to get the response from a mass gathering because it creates a good impact. It creates a good. This is how the things should be. Okay, so. This FGDs, these are like that. You select 5 people, they are sitting in front of you and you are talking to them regarding same topic. Okay? This is how it is like a group interview. Just for the time being, just get it, it's just a group interview, but we are using the word focus because we don't often get off track from our topics. For such as if we are talking about the issues of primary school, a particular primary school, we will talk about the issues of a particular primary school. For example, if we are talking about why this classroom has no fans, we will only talk about that particular topic. We will not shift. We will not randomly shift to a topic why students need to like climb 20 floors to go on a classroom. We will not go to there. We will only talk about the topic that we have already selected. That will be our topic. That is the thing that we are going to cover. Okay? So yeah.
So exit interview means
Why did it got stopped? Already happened?
30 minutes, 30.
30. So let's start with the semester. We will talk about the exit ones, okay? That is, we will talk about the exit interview, don't worry. Let's start with the semi-structured interview. Okay. We have the structured one here. Okay. So let's start talking from the structured one, okay? Like, to whom we are going to take a structured interview? Look, the structured interviews are only reserved for really important persons. We call them VVIP. Very important. VVIPs. For example, one of you have become a really great journalist of this country, and now you want to interview the then minister or the prime minister of this country. Before you are going to do such things, everything needs to be structured. Each and every question you are going to ask, there will be a third party people, there will be a third party reviewer who are going to see what are the questions you are going to ask. There will be a team to make you make you understand, like, instead of this question, sir, you should ask this one. Instead of asking it this way, you have to ask it in this way. And the process is that much structured that you simply cannot get out of it. Let's talk about, we all are very familiar with the election campaigns that US President runs. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Before their election, before they get elected as the president, there were some very hot debatable debates that we get to see in televisions, right? Those things are not structured. Where the one who is basically controlling the show, the journalist, who is standing just in between, he did all the things. Whatever questions he finds it suitable to ask, he asks them the questions. But just after becoming the US president, you cannot do these kinds of activities with the president. Your questions needs to be structured. How much logical your questions can be, if they think you cannot ask it on national television, they won't let you ask those questions. And if you don't agree with them, you just can't get out. So these are basically called structured interviews. Here, the interviewer needs to give every sort of details before the interview. Just get it like that. Whatever is happening, basically, the interviewer needs to give a demo presentation of the entire thing that is going to happen before the interview. Okay, I think during this last Urban Area, there was a film that came up. Do we know the name of that film? Shakib Khan acted there. I cannot recall the name of it. Tandov, yes. Have you seen it? Have you seen Tandov, madam? You know, like when the first thing happened in that film, when the troops, the gangs of Shakib Khan break into that interview set, can you recall some glimpse of those stuff? Like the MP who was sitting there, the one who is going to take the interview, he is briefing everything to that MP before the interview.
Yes.
So you need to do this. So I'm going to ask you this, you need to answer in this way. The MP was arguing, no, I'm not going to answer in this way, I'm going to answer in this way. So this is basically a structure. You need to give every sort of details just before the interview. A night before the interview or weeks before the interview. It is a stage drama. That's it. It is a stage drama. So now you guys can ask me, sir, then why structured interview exists? Structured interview exists because in some cases you can make the participants convinced, sir, you need to talk on this topic. You need to talk on this matter. This will create a good impact of you. This is important for us to talk on this matter. Let's say, for example, there was an interview got aired of Sheikh Hasina, conducted by Sheikh Shiraz, which basically mostly focused on the hobbies of our ex-Prime Minister, right? Going inside of that home, miss, what do you do at this hour, what do you do at that hour? That interview sparked people's interest because people don't know how the personal life of our Prime Minister happens. Personal life of a Prime Minister happens. Okay. So these are the things where this structured interviews really gets to play. And this is not a very new format of taking interview. You can see it with some other film stars, popular people. Okay, so this is how the structured interview works. So now if we talk about the next one, the semi-structured one, this is basically the most important thing for you to understand in the world of interview. It clearly says that a semi-structured interview includes a mix of fixed and flexible questions. The interviewer follows a guide but can ask follow-up questions based on the interviewee's response. Okay? So I have written a line here, combination of open-ended and probing questions. Do you know what an open-ended and closed-ended question means?
There is nothing to extend beyond that point. A closed-ended
Can you
question.
give me an example of a closed-ended question?
A closed, for example, what were the estimated casualties of, let's say, a strike conducted by a government, let's say?
Okay.
Just perfect.
I'm making it way much more easier for you to understand, okay? Let's say I have just asked you, what is your favorite color? You answer me such as red, blue, green, or anything, okay? So if the question ends there, that is a close-ended question. It's done, it's gone, okay? But if you add a why to that question,
Why, yes.
like you say, blue is my favorite color, and then you added why to it, like why blue? Just the first one, what is your favorite color, is a close-ended question, it's a one-word answer. Understand that the questions that you are going to answer in one word is often will be labeled as a short, close-ended questions. But if the interviewer asks you to give justification beside your answer, then it can be an open-ended question. Okay. A very popular close-ended question is, what is your name? Does anyone ask after why after that? Add why after that? For example,
Not usually, sir, correct.
what's my name? My name is Rafi. Do any one of you ask me the question like, why Rafi, sir? So these are close-ended questions. The questions that you start, the question that you place within the beginning of your interview. You can pause a minute.